friends got a story to tell about a young man folks thought they knew so well. Rumors, lies, and all things between. Yeah, they were blind to what they didn't want to see. You can't be a prophet in your own town. Can't climb a ladder when folks keep putting you down. No, you can't be a prophet in your hometown. Takes a bucket load of courage, leave the world behind, in a basket full of effort and a strong-willed mind. Despite the aspersions, he took a leap of faith, and he made his own way to a brand new place. No, you can't be a prophet in your hometown. Can't climb a ladder when the rumors keep bringing you down.
All right, folks, before we get rolling, I want to thank a few people here. Today's show is brought to you by Farmer Joe's Fresh Market, Lee County's crown jewel of grocery stores, located at 1401 Southwest Pine Island Road in beautiful Cape Coral, Florida. They got everything from ribeyes to rutabagas, coffee that will wake the dead, and produce that's so fresh it still thinks it's growing. If you ain't shopping at Farmer Joe's, well, son, usually it's not grocery shopping. Everything you need in Lee County's greatest grocery store, Farmer Joe's Fresh Market. Now, if you're in the market for marble, real marble, not the stuff that looks like it comes from a gas station drink coaster, then call International Marble at 239-878-2200. Locally owned, operated, and locally willing to put up with y'all. Tell them Smokin Joe sent you. And up there in the Carolinas, we got a few watchers now for. We want to give a shout out to our family at Boat Sales Incorporated, 4376 Charlotte Highway, Lake Wylie, South Carolina. Go on down there and see cousin Sherry and Vic and nephew Devin. They'll treat you like kin, and even the good kind of kin, the one don't mind being seen with you. All right, we got our heavyweight, veteran political analyst, author, attorney, professor, seen on Fox Business, Newsmax, and everywhere respectable folks talk about politics without crying. The one, the only Ford O'Connell. The man Fox News calls when things get complicated. The government calls when they need clarity, and Democrats call when they need a good cry. You can find Ford on X and check out FordO'Connell.com. Ladies and gentlemen, patriots and porch setters, fishermen, farmers, and folks who yell at the TV during political debates, you have arrived. I am Smokin Joe, and this is the Cracker Culture Podcast, where the truth is hot, the jokes are free, and the sweet tea is sweeter than Naples snowbird's HOA complaint letter. Now, for my brother, let's start with the nastiest of the worms in the can. Washington, the Epstein files. We got Delegate Stacey Plaskett texting Epstein in 2019, and then we got Jasmine Crockett claiming Republicans took money from Jeffrey Epstein. Now, mind you, it's not the Epstein that just some other dude who unfortunately got named Epstein, bless his heart. So, Ford, on a scale from 1 to 10, where's the bleach? How bad does this look for Democrats trying to rewrite history?
It's absolutely unreal. Look, for 20 years, Democrats knew about Epstein and the victims, and they didn't care. Joe Biden could have done this himself. He chose not to. The only reason why we're talking about this is because somehow Democrats think they can smear Donald Trump. They want to kill number one, and all they're doing is stepping in number two.
Yeah, I just want to know when Washington's going to quit pretending they all didn't know the man.
Well, remember, there's two Epsteins. That's the amazing part. So the first Epstein, remember, he went to jail in 2008, 2009 for like 13 months. I don't know who he paid off, to only go to jail at night. That's kind of impressive how he pulled that off in Palm Beach. But the fact of the matter is, at that point, he was a convicted sex offender. Donald Trump, before that, kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago, had no more association with him. But after being a convicted sex offender, Democrats continued to pal around with him again until Trump indicted him, the Trump DOJ, the first time around, for being a convicted sex offender again. I mean, the Democrats pal with him all day. The Clintons, Larry Summers, the former president of Harvard. I mean, you name it. It's a who's who within the Democratic Party who know this guy, and now they're trying to make this into a Donald Trump story. It reminds me a lot of Russia hoax 2.0.
Well, and I don't think, and me and you talked off there, I don't think we'll ever get what we really want to know.
No, we won't. It's like it's going to be like as the documents come out, basically Pam Bondi's got 30 days to release all what I will say unclassified communications. And I'm going to tell you something. It's going to be like watching paint dry. Remember when they opened Al Capone's safe and Geraldo found nothing in there? Get ready. That's going to happen every day. My problem, though, is how the legacy media is reporting it. So you've already had some stuff come out. And my God, the stuff about Larry Summers, the former president of Harvard, some of the stuff he did, he's already stepped off a board and basically hiding in plain sight because of the shame that is coming from it. But then they go, you know what? There's nothing incriminating about Trump. So there must be more. I mean, this is the biggest shell game I've ever seen, and the legacy media is along for the ride.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I'm seeing a lot of people posting things about that they've exposed Trump as a pedophile and all that. That's not in them files. That has not been exposed. That's all false news. And I don't know why people are running with that on social media.
Well, not only are they running with it, you got Democrats saying it on CNN when they're being called out about their association with Jeffrey Epstein. The Virgin Islands delegates like, oh, well, my constituent called you. Your constituent's a two-time convicted sex offender, and you're taking text messages from that constituent in the middle of a 2019 House hearing. And then CNN, God bless CNN for the first time ever, okay, gets up there and they go, well, he contacted me, and CNN goes, no. You contacted them because you wanted dirt on Trump, and he had no dirt on Trump.
Yeah. Well, Ford, I want to ask you what in tarnations I watched. Democrats recorded the whole video bragging that the military should refuse unlawful orders. And somehow they think Trump is out here trying to reenact Apocalypse Now from Mar-a-Lago. Or is this just political theater, genuine panic, or are the Democrats just making pre-excuses for 2024 like a kid who didn't do his homework?
Oh, they're making excuses. And the worst part is, if you listen to what they say, they're basically calling for a military coup and an insurrection. Wait a minute. That's basically what they're doing here. And let's be clear about something. I spent about 2 minutes in the United States JAG Corps because I finished up law school in the JAG Corps in Charlottesville, Virginia. And I will tell you, just from the little time I spent around the Uniform Code of Military Justice, they're just repeating themselves. That is the law. If you receive an unlawful order, you can disobey it. The problem is 99.99999% of military orders are lawful. And by the way, see, the Dems are trying to sow discord in the American public because you can't say, well, I don't want to take part into a war because I'm against war. You'll be thrown in the brig. You can't say, gee, this is a dangerous mission. You'll be thrown in the brig. I mean, what the Democrats are doing is absolutely appalling, and they got to stop it. But you know what? They don't seem to care. They'll burn the house down because they're not in power.
Yeah, I just don't know why it's got to be so much turmoil. And if they would work more to solving the issues instead of trying to find something on Trump, we'd be in a much better position right now.
But this is their modus operandi. They don't care about bettering America. They don't care about the Epstein victims. All they care is getting back into power. And people say, well, it's just Trump. No, they were doing this crap to George W. Bush. And whoever the next Republican president, hopefully it's J.D. Vance, they will try to do the same thing again. Heck, they're trying to blow up his marriage already. And he isn't even sitting in the Oval Office.
Yeah, it's got to be rough being a Republican in any office in Washington with so many of those liberals and those far left crazies. I mean, I just tell you, I can't take watching some of this. When you put Raskin on there or some of them guys, I just want to beat my head against the wall.
Well, let me tell you something. When Jamie Raskin, okay, is trying to sell you the Golden Gate Bridge, you know you're getting snookered, okay? This guy's out there. She was just texting with a constituent. A two-time sex offender convicted in 2 separate trials. That is not normal. And my favorite is Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader. He's over there going, well, I didn't know it was Jeffrey Epstein. No. See, I've run for office, and I know When you're running for office, you got to dial for dollars. And if there's a whale in the room, you know who they are, whether or not they've given you money. And I promise you he was cozying up. And every other Democrat, there was somebody who did I think it might have been Newsmax. They did a little like study, and we're not talking about PACs and groups and parties, but it was something like, I'm just off the top of my head. He gave something like $140,000 to Democrats, okay, and like $18,000 to Republicans. Now, based on that ratio, what is the chance that he's got dirt? It's about 80-20. Remember, we all go back to 80-20? Well, it's 80% of the stuff is going to be Democrats. I got to feel it's probably closer to 90 when you look at the power brokers like George Stephanopoulos of ABC News. I'm sure he's been on that Lolita Express.
I believe you're 100% correct there. Like I said, it's just rough. And I'll tell you, I don't know how Hakeem Jeffries can recover. Comer just slapped him in the face. I mean, he had the receipts, buddy.
Well, let me tell you about Hakeem Jeffries. See, he's dime store Obama, okay? And the worst part is when you got him backed into a corner, he starts with this whole Brooklyn Hakeem. I mean, what the heck is that? Like, I'm somehow supposed to believe you're a tough guy because you're from Brooklyn? Because last time I checked, I think your neighbor about a block away is a man named Chuck Schumer. And I know that when he starts lying because the glasses go down further down his nose. I mean, talk about a sorry sack of twisted sisters.
Well, Ford, I need you to explain this to me like a Florida man. How does a self-proclaimed socialist, Tommy Mandami himself, end up meeting Trump? And I think you was the one first to ever call him Mandami the commie. I mean, was he lost? Did he think that he was walking into a Bernie Sanders fundraiser? How did it happen?
Well, I think what happened here is Donald Trump, you know, the former boss of New York in the sense of being the king of New York, because I don't want to use that because Democrats will somehow say something about that. I think that this meeting that they had on Friday, we're going to call it for the good of New York. And what Donald Trump decided, he goes, there's two ways I can do this. I can either set a honey trap for Mamdani and tell him what a great, smart guy he is and blow smoke up his backside, or I can douse him in vinegar and we can keep fighting. And he's like, you know, as a born and raised New Yorker, I'm going to try to do what's in the best interest of New York. And if this man screws up, and when the rubber meets the road, and if I find he's lying to me, I wouldn't be surprised if I flood the zone with ice or I make his life a living hell and hold back the $7 billion that New York City gets from the federal government every single year. There's a lot of different ways. I think Trump played this right. And I'm going to tell you the worst part, because I was listening to reporters that were outside the Oval Office as the two were meeting. There were more reporters for that meeting than there were for when world leaders come to the White House. That is absolutely sad and tells you what is wrong with the priorities of our government. And I'm like you. I don't like spending a lot of foreign aid out there. But at the same time, though, wow.
Well, and I'll just tell you, when that reporter said that to Mandami about him calling Trump a fascist, go ahead, call me a fascist. It's easier than trying to explain it. That was just hilarious.
Well, he's the funniest president we've ever had, but I think it speaks better for all the stuff that the media tries to slime Trump with. He'll meet with anyone, anytime, anywhere. And let me tell you something. That's what you want in a president. And, you know, I heard some people online going crazy, going, Trump's caving to Mamdani. Oh, boy. They don't seem to understand what's going on here. He did the same thing to Kim Jong-un. I'm going to be nice to you till you screw me. And then when you do, I'm going to turn up the heat.
Yeah, look, I feel bad for New York. I think you're doomed, but it'll be interesting to see now that Trump's kind of having a little influence here. So,
well, you know, it's crazy and I hope, I mean, as much as we make fun of New York City and up there and all that stuff, the bottom line is, look, it's the financial capital of the world. You want the place to succeed because when it succeeds, Florida succeeds. And not only that, it drives down our property taxes when they don't flee our way, because that really hurts us when they do that. But, you know, I'm concerned that, frankly, you know, what he's talking about with the police, what he's talking about with, you know, government-run grocery stores, what he's talking about like throwing Netanyahu in prison. I mean, I'm afraid that he's going to turn New York into, remember Escape from New York with Snake Plissken? I'm afraid that's what's going to happen after 4 years of Mamdani.
Well, I'm gonna play a little clip. This is pretty crazy news here, Ford. I'm gonna play a clip and we'll talk about
Overnight, the shocking bombshell. Republican firebrand Marjorie Taylor Greene, once one of President Trump's most vocal defenders, announcing her plans to resign from Congress amid a spiraling feud igniting the president's MAGA base.
I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026.
After breaking with the president on a variety of issues, a growing Trump-Green rift recently reaching a point of no return when the Georgia congresswoman became one of just a handful of GOP lawmakers to help force a House vote to compel the release of the DOJ's Jeffrey Epstein files. Trump calling her a traitor, the congresswoman hitting back.
Standing up for American women who were raped at 14 years old, trafficked and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States.
First elected in 2020, Greene quickly becoming a lightning rod on Capitol Hill.
You don't have enough intelligence.
Chair recognizes Mr. Perry.
For years, Greene synonymous with Trump's MAGA movement, standing firmly by his side in the aftermath of the January 6th Capitol attack, even wearing a MAGA hat to President Biden's State of the Union.
This one, I never, ever want to have her as my enemy. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Where is she?
But cracks started to form months ago when Greene began accusing the president of betraying his America First campaign promises, critical of his support for Israel and policies for specialized foreign workers.
I don't know what happened to Marjorie. She's a nice woman, but I don't know what happened. She's lost her way, I think.
This morning, Greene speaking directly to the president's base.
If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well.
All right, Ford. I mean, I've always liked Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think she really was one of Trump's staunchest supporters. And as far as a congressperson, I think she done a good job in Georgia. Where we at with this, Ford?
There's a lot to unpack here. I think here's a simple thing. She didn't think that Donald Trump abandoned the MAGA base. This is more of a butthurt situation. I believe that she wanted to run for senator or governor of Georgia. He said, I'm not going to endorse you for that position because I don't think you can win. And you know that probably the biggest senatorial race in the midterms is going to be Georgia. And he basically is like, no. She's like, well, but I supported you. And he's like, you can't win, Marjorie. And that's when you saw her going crazy. You know what the pinnacle of her nuttiness was? Her victim card playing is when she hung out with the Harpies on The View. I mean, what do you think was going to happen? You went right into it, palled up with Joy Behar and said bad things about Trump, and you didn't think he was going to unendorse you? I mean, she got so furious and like so emotional that essentially she turned her future in the Republican Party, which was bright, into next to zero, all because she got mad and could not see the writing on the wall that she could not win statewide in the Peach State.
Well,
I mean, and that's what people, that's what a lot of people don't see us. And what I find truly disingenuous, and I'm not saying, look, Trump said, Marjorie went bad. I thank her for her service to our country. But what kills me is the same media that when she was, fighting for Trump, fighting for America first, whatever you have it, that media hated her guts. But the second she said something that was at odds with Donald Trump, the media kissed up to her. And she needed to understand that playing the victim card doesn't help America. It doesn't help her. It doesn't help America first. And it certainly doesn't help Donald Trump. But she couldn't help herself. And she showed right there why she should not be the Senate nominee from Georgia. And then people don't understand this. A lot of reporters came to me and I said, look, if he unendorses her, she can't win her own primary for re-election. And here's why. Because we're at a point right now in the Republican Party where the Trump endorsement, it's not the gold standard. It's the platinum standard. If you want to win a Republican primary, particularly in a district that's like R plus 30 like hers, if Donald Trump gives you the seal of approval, the primary voters will walk in lockstep because they know that you can't do this. And by the way, let's just flip it around for a second, Joe. Let's say she was a Democrat. You think that Nancy Pelosi would put up with that crap? She'd send her out on her keister too. I mean, I don't think that, see, Marjorie Greene tries to make this about Donald Trump and she didn't realize that she was just being a horse's ass.
I just wonder.
Because a lot of us really liked Marjorie for a very long time. And I'll say that she was a patriot till she lost her way. And that's basically what Donald Trump said.
Yeah, like I said, it's crazy to see such a 360 here. And, I just believe that she's going to think, like you said, and realize she messed up. She should have been a little more adult about this and done the right thing.
Well, let's put it this way. Given the thin margins, notice she said January 5th. Why not tomorrow? Why not next week? Why not Thanksgiving? I have a feeling, and I could be wrong, that she's going to wake up after she's done, being drunk. And when she sobers up, she's going to go, this was a really bad idea. I had a really good gig. And you know what? Maybe if I go kiss the ring and, get ship shape here, Donald Trump is a forgiving man and may well say, look, Marjorie, quiet down, keep doing what you were doing, and I'll make sure that you win re-election.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's exactly what she probably thought that way. I just think the more time that transpires, the less likely that makeup's going to be.
Well, remember, there were a lot of people that are very close to the president now who said some of, everyone goes, oh, can you believe Trump said this and that? I mean, some of the stuff that, people said about Trump in the Republican primary. I mean, just look at him and Rubio now. I mean, gosh, he's almost treating Rubio like his fourth son. I mean, you get to that point where, holy moly. But, that's how Donald Trump is. He's like, look, once we do our dance, understand we got to move in the same direction. And if you do so, I'll have your back.
Yep. Well, Ford, the courts just blocked the Texas redistrict map like it was a linebacker with something to prove. How big a political earthquake is this, Ford?
Well, this is a big one. Luckily, since that happened, Justice Alito, who oversees Texas in terms of hearing appeals, has basically blocked that order. So now the map stands again. But this court case is going to be fast-tracked to the United States Supreme Court. And what it's going to come down to is basically one simple question. Is Texas's redistricting, drawing up the map so Republicans can get 5 more United States House seats, was it political or was it racial? Because if the redistricting was political, Texas is allowed to do that. If they can prove that it wasn't political, but in fact primarily racial, then that's against the law at this point until there's a decision in another case from Louisiana that determines about racial redistricting. But what's funny here is the best witness for Texas is Gavin Newsom, because they said, Gavin, you went and redistricted. And why'd you redistrict? Because of the politics that Texas was playing. Well, if it's political, guess what? The United States Supreme Court has ruled in 2019 in a case called Commons by our dear Chief Justice John Roberts that the Supreme Court will not weigh in on partisan gerrymandering when it's done solely for political purposes.
Well, I just hope this mess don't spill over to other states faster than the snowbirds hitting I-75 in November.
You're right. And people don't realize this is a little something we're talking about, not getting a lot of attention outside of hardcore political circles, but this is make or break. Because there are about 17 toss-up House seats. The Republicans have about 212 in the bank. To stay in the majority, you need 218. That means of the 17 toss-ups that I just told you about, that includes the 5 seats in Texas, you're going to have to pick up 6 or 7 of 17. And that's the entire race right there. We just, we can go home. We've just solved the midterms, Joe.
Well, Ford, you know what time it is. Everybody waits for this part of the show.
The man's trash.
The part was how they were saying, literally, a hurricane could take your home away, but the man's trash. I mean, that is unbelievable.
The man's trash.
Man's trash. I mean.
All right, Ford, today on the man's trash, the first story I want to talk about is our supervisor of elections here in Lee County. He just won. And now he's announcing he is calling it quits. He's going to retire. And before the ink dried on that announcement, Commissioner Cecil Pendergrass started strutting like a rooster in mating season, saying he wants that seat. And now there's rumbling that Hollywood Brian Hammond is sniffing around too. What say you for this crazy shell game we play?
So a Terry Miller person was thinking about not running, and essentially to make sure that it stayed within the Terry Miller circle, he had to run again. And then once he won, he's like, I'm going to leave now. I mean, what was it? The parking lot? What got to him? I mean, that's the real question. Hey, I'm not going to throw, stones in the glass houses on that front, but I'm going to say, gee, Cecil Pendergrass, Hollywood Hammond, man, that's a choice. That's something that Lee County's going to have to choose. It's above my pay grade, but I'll say if it came down to those two, I might be for Kojak.
Yeah, I agree. I think Big Cecil, I trust Big. I don't trust none of them, but I think I'd have to trust Big Cecil over Hollywood Hammond any day.
Well, with my bad knee, I shouldn't be throwing anything or trusting anything, but I'll just tell you, I hear you. I mean, the reason is you just look at how Hollywood ran that commissioners when he became the head. And I got to say, man, the Gambino crime family ain't got anything on those guys.
I agree with you. Well, and a lot of people are starting to file for seats now. And, I just want to ask you why do the political seats in Lee County attract more suitors than the Winterfront Beach property? I mean, it's like everybody jumps in, like for the Congress seat. How many people's in there now? It's crazy. They just keep piling in and in and in.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the Congress seat's a little bit different. And frankly, I mean, so many people in there. I mean, you might get to a point where 1,000 votes might win the whole congressional seat in the Republican primary. That sounds insane. But remember, even when Byron won, we're talking about 400 or 500 vote difference here. And I mean, at this point, we got almost every resident of Southwest Florida is throwing their name in there. I mean, I think you and I are the only two that have it. I mean, maybe we should just run as a ticket,
Yeah. Well, what does this scramble say about our local GOP dynamics, Ford, with all this?
Well, I think you have to separate the federal from the state and the local. I mean, the federal, it can be a free-for-all. I mean, I don't think anyone I can't think of a candidate that's ever won that seat that is under Terry Miller's control. But every other major thing, particularly in Lee County, some in Collier, are associated with the Miller machine. But, it's just federal is different because a lot of outside groups outside of the state of Florida and certainly outside of Southwest Florida, they don't care about the allegiance and kissing the ring of Mr. Miller. So there's your answer.
Right. Well, I'm going to skip on to what I think is a good bit of Florida news. The Attorney General just announced that more than 24 abused or exploited kids were rescued right here in Southwest Florida. That just is amazing. I don't know why it takes a statewide thing to fix things with our local leadership. They should have been on top of this years ago, but thank God that they found those children.
Absolutely. And, whether it's exploited, abused children, the amount of trafficking because of how close we are with the entry from South America, Latin America, et cetera. It's also the human trafficking that goes on. And I mean, look, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to kind of see what's going on. And unfortunately, we need to be doing something more about that. I'm just glad that in this case, you protected the kids.
Yeah, I am. And like I said, that kind of news, I love when we get to talk about it because I love when we finally do what's right and step up and protect our children. And the ones that haven't been protected, we rescue them and try to nurture them back to a healthy life. And that, that's going to be a rough road. But Floridians, we need to take mind to care for these children and know that we let them down. We let them get gone, but we got them back and we owe them.
Yeah, you got to take care of your own and remember that. I mean, it takes a community sometimes to raise a child. So look, I'm with you. And I think that's a type of story that should get a lot more attention than it does because that's the type of thing that we should all be rallying around regardless of political affiliation.
Well, Ford, this is going to be our last story. It's going to be lengthy, folks. We're going to talk about the Lee County REC meltdown, a circus without popcorn. Ford, I know you've seen messy politics, but our Lee County Republican Executive Committee, brother, that place is a full contact dumpster rodeo. We got drama over protocol between the chair, Mercedes Price, and the state committee woman, Tara Jenner. Tara Jenner and members walked out like a Baptist sermon gone wrong. And the crowd turned on Tara Jenner. With behavior so vile, so low rent, so downright trashy, Walmart would have asked them to leave. And the problem I've got with that, Ford, is I lost some respect for some people who I thought were good Christian people. But they sat right there, and I'll just say it right now. Missy Lastra was one of them. Richard Leon was the other. But the group that was Missy Lastra, clapping, hissing, telling her to just go on out of here. We don't want you, and saying mean, vile stuff to that lady. You know, I have a problem that if you are a good, solid, wholesome person, why are you associating with people like Missy Lastra? And if you sit there when she acts that way and you are not in opposition to that, I have no more respect for you. And I feel that way for it. And I'm sorry. And I'm telling you, I really respected some of those people before that was set with Missy.
And the other thing is Tara Jenner. I mean, say what you want, but I know she is dedicated to doing what's right. It may not be coming the book cover you want, but I'm going to tell you something. She's truly a dedicated person. Look, we always disagree, but that's the problem is, I mean, you know, if they took out the fight that they use against each other in the Lee County REC and turned that towards the Democrats, hell, we'd never lose an election.
I've been saying that for years.
I know, and all they want to do is stab each other in the back and the front. I mean, let you know about it. And it's like a bad game of high school. Well, because I don't like so-and-so, you have to not like so-and-so, Joe, too. It's embarrassing. I mean, Jerry Springer wouldn't even be able to put up with this crap. I mean, that's what I was
going to ask. Why does every local GOP turn into a Jerry Springer reunion session? I don't know. That is just the craziest thing I've ever seen for people, conservatives now, to act that way like childish schoolgirls.
And I think part of it is you got some people, whether it's the Lee County REC, Collier, et cetera, where you got some people that are there solely for the cause. Let's push it forward. Then you got a bunch of people in there that are saying, I wonder how I can grift off of this. Then you've got another set of people going, hey, if I get power in this GOP, I can launch myself into public office. I mean, it's like a three-way going the wrong way every single time. And that's really the problem. Everyone's got a different agenda. And then they just band together to kill off people like it's a sad game of Survivor.
Well, and they're always looking for a fight. They're always looking for a fight. And I'm going to give you an example. We brought up Missy Lastra. And you know, I opposed Jennifer Nelson being appointed to the Cape Coral City Council. Mm-hmm. I've never said a word about Missy or Javier, her husband, Javier Lastra, never said a word about them. And they attacked me over that. Well, out of the blue, Javier Lastra decides to attack me, Jacqueline Perez, and Denise Nystrom over a candidate running for school board who I do not know, have never heard of, never seen not at one school board meeting, who is running for school board, and his name is Tony Bozier. Wasn't even on my radar, Ford, until Javier attacked. He said that our show, me and you, was like MSNBC or CNN. He'd respect us more if we weren't so much like them. And so I simply asked Mr. Lastra, name one inaccurate or false thing we've ever put out in this show, because we have stood strong on being honest and truthful about everything we put out. Of course, he had no response. So
the Democrats do that too. You know, Democrats say, "Oh, unlawful orders." Name one. You can't. I mean, that's the entire point. And by the way, isn't like Javier in German Zavar? Isn't that actually the name Zavar?
Funny you should say that, Ford. After he pissed me off, I done a FOIA request and a few background checks. The man that wants to police all of us conservatives, he's not a registered Republican, never been a registered Republican. He's never even been registered to vote. Why? Because he's not a naturalized U.S. citizen. He is a green card holder. And I asked myself, Ford, he's married to an American woman. I mean, that's stretching it, but he's married to an American citizen. And why is he not got a green card? There ain't been so many reasons why a person would not become naturalized that I can think of. And I'd like to know what that reason is. And I'm on the look. But I'll tell you what I did find out. They have went around saying that Javier is a Spaniard, I think from Spain. Well, that's a lie. I have pulled it up. Javier was born in Germany. He goose-stepped his way over the border into the conservative network with Missy Laster. He can't vote. He shouldn't have no earthly reason to come after anybody about what they do. He's not a Democrat, but he damn sure ain't a conservative.
Well, I'm glad I don't piss you off, but I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I don't understand why these people think that they're doesn't stink, because they go after people and then they don't think that you're going to use the Google machine. I mean, come on. That's the entire problem around here. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. Everyone just throws bombs all day. You know what? Sometimes people should just bite their tongue. And if you don't have something nice to say, think about it twice. And if someone hits you twice, then you should push back. I'm not saying be a complete pacifist, but you don't have to be angry and aggressive all the time to the point that you're burning everyone's house down. And then we find out, and again, if you were wrong about this, we will apologize. I want Zavar to know this, that if we say something inaccurate, we're going to come out and apologize, whether it's me, you, or both of us.
That's 100%. And I'm telling you, I'm not wrong. And Javier, I'll tell you right now, prove me wrong about anything we say on this show, buddy. You like to throw dirt. Well, I'm giving you the show. Pile it on, big boy. And Ford, this is, I don't know. I think this is, I don't know if it's a result of their ego, their ignorance, or folks that just ain't had a good ass whooping since 92. That's what I
would
think.
Say all of the above, my friend. All of the above.
Well, Ford, I want to appreciate you coming on today. What you got coming out? You got anything going on right now?
My man, we're coming up to Thanksgiving. I wish you and the family the best. I'm going to be taking the family out to Vegas like we always do. You know, it's nice. It's the most handicap accessible place for my stepfather. We always have a great time. You can't have a bad time in Vegas. You just hope you come home with some money.
Well,
I mean, not losing money.
Right. Well, we're going to, the family's going to be here. We're going to have a big spread here at the house. And we're at the new location. So this will be the first year here. And then, so we're excited about that. Very thankful for all of our friends and all of the supporters and the people that watch the show. I will announce this now that I've not even told the people. I got to confirm today. On December 12th, I will be the guest speaker at a writers club, and they have begun following all of our content, and the group just loves some of the things that we do and some of the stories I write. And so on December 12th, I'll be having lunch with the good people in Lake Placid. I just said Lake because I messed up. In Lake Placid, up around Sebring, I will be there speaking with the good people, and we will talk about Florida history, and a lot of fun, folks, and I'm excited about being there.
That's fantastic, man. Good for you.
Yeah. Well, all right, folks. That's another chapter in the Cracker Culture Podcast. Big shout out to my man Ford O'Connell, a man who can explain politics to regular folks without sending us into a coma. And thank you to all the people that support our show, our listeners, and the REC. Thank you for always providing premium Florida drama free of charge. We love you, Florida. Until next time, love, peace, and game grease.